Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of the Quantum Compass. And we're now moving into a new wave spell and indeed a new moon. So we are entering into the phase of the yellow magnetic seed, which runs from August the 15th to August the 27th. And that's what we're going to be having a look at in today's episode, right, Bella?
Yes, it feels like a very auspicious wave spell to me, and I'll go into details on why I think that. So a lot of energy. We're going to start using today more of this sidereal and constellational astrology, and we are progressing on that front. So super excited to be doing that connection of 13 moons and 13 sign astrology.
Right. And there's been a big Venus energy impulse, certainly in this household over the last week with Bella's line of investigations into the Venus star point and the connection to Mayan cosmology, which is deep and very relevant, but also because we're recording this in the afterglow of the Venus-Jupiter conjunction that happened here earlier this morning. And perhaps is setting a metronome of what's to come, right, Bella?
Yes. So that we'll cover more of the astrology towards the end of the show. And as usual, we'll start with the Mayan part, with the 13 moons. Then we go into the soul kin or sacred round, and then we go into the astrology as usual.
And we were just discussing this before we hit record. Intriguingly, the new moon is also the beginning of the new moon in the 13 moon journey. It's actually on the same day. So this means something of a synchronization is taking place. But let's get into the presentation, put the pieces together and see what wants to unfold.
So if you're new to the channel, what we try to do here is to do a forecast of the galactic energies, astrological energies, and how we can handle things, what are the tools that we can use. So we're going to be covering August 15 through the 27, which is the wave spell of the yellow magnetic seed, which is also the energy for the whole year, as we cover in the previous episodes. So we are fully into the 13 moon way of tracking time. And this is part of bringing the hidden 13, or bringing ancient wisdom back into how to track time and realign ourselves with the real way of tracking time according to our biology, according to the rhythms of the earth and the moon and the sun.
Beautiful.
So what we're going to be doing during this wave spell is to go from the first moon into the second one. This wave spell is going to bridge us from one to the other. So we talked in the previous episodes about the magnetic moon and the energy of defining the purpose for these 13 moons. And then we're going to be moving into the second one, which is what can be the obstacles and challenges to my purpose. So that is something to start reviewing. We'll enter that second moon towards the end of the wave spell. So we still have this totem. The energy is still telling us magnetize. The bats connect to the magnetism of the planet. So we can also learn to connect to the real magnetism of the planet and to learn to attract to us what is best for us and for the highest good of all. So the question up to the 22nd of August is, what is your purpose? What is your goal for this year of 13 moons? And how do you achieve your purpose? So it's about magnetizing, journaling, and trying to meditate and reflect on what is it that your heart really wants. So we have a few more days to magnetize that purpose, because then on August 23rd, we'll move into the lunar moon, where the scorpion is the actual totem. And we know that the Scorpios have everything to do with transformation, independence, protection, death, and rebirth. So this is the energy that is going to be with us in the next month. So we'll probably talk a little bit more about that in the next show, because we'll be more into that energy.
Right.
Did you want to add anything?
No, I have a couple of things to add, but maybe it is slightly suitable later.
And for those of us that love to look at the sky, you get to see Scorpio, the constellation. And this is our invitation from now on for all of you to start looking more at the sky. What is happening up there? If you have a telescope, even better. But to look at a Scorpio in the sky, you don't really need a telescope. And we know that the main star in Scorpio is Antares, and it's through Antares energy that all of the stellar nations energy was downloaded. So it's a good idea. July and August, you still see it in the south. If you look south from wherever you are, you will see it in the evening sky. So that's for the 13 moons. We're going to be bridging from the first to the second. The first one is called magnetic. The second one is called the lunar moon. Now let's talk about the sacred round, which is the next set of cycles that we work with. And we have the magnetic wave spell of the seed. And here is the glyph. You can see it highlighted. It's good to draw it or to print it out and to know what is your archetype so you can connect with those energies. This wave spell is going to close the castle, the blue castle of transformation. So I'll remind people here, especially the new ones, we have done this is the third castle, meaning 3 cycles of 52 days since March when we started this sulking. So this final wave spell in this particular castle is helping us do the big part of the transformation that we need to do. And it's perfect that we're linking it with the energy of the Scorpio.
And the yellow castle means?
It's going to be the point of harvest, of ripening.
Okay, that's going to link nicely to what I want to say in a minute, but I'll wait to wrap up.
So here I've highlighted the wave spell starting on Kin 144. Going through Kin 156 is an amazing wave spell. It has 10 galactic activation portals. So if this wave spell starts on the 15th, from the 17th of August, we're going to have 10 full days of activation portals. What does that mean? That you have more connection to the Akashic records, to the quantum field. You can do deeper work, get bigger answers about everything. But I think this is a particular wave spell that is supporting the process of what is going on in the planet. And I'll go into it more in the astrology part of it. It does feel quite big. So this is the wave spell of the yellow seed. And when we talk about this archetype, we talk about a gestation process, about putting the seed, which is what we're going to be doing in this wave spell. We've been thinking about the main intention or the main purpose for these 13 moons. This is the perfect opportunity to put that seed. And you can do it literally by planting some seeds. You can do it by journaling, by doing some symbolic ritual where you actually put your seeds, your ideas, your projects into this container that is going to be happening. So this is like a mini fractal of the seed year in a way, because it's all to do with seeds, with manifestation, with growth, with us becoming cosmic seeds as well. As usual, there is always some shadow to work with during the 13 days. And in this case, it has to do with insecurities, with fears, with wanting to stay in the comfort zone, limiting your possibilities, and in general, lack of confidence. So we're going to transform all of this shadow by seeding what our heart really desires, planting those seeds with intention, with precision. We've had the whole moon of 28 days to decide, to look at exactly what is it that we want to plant. So now we can put those seeds, and you want to seed good thoughts and love and good things for yourself, not things that are going to stress you out even more, but things that actually get rid of your PTSD, your fears, your limiting beliefs, but make you feel like abundance of love and abundance of well-being. So what we do is we prepare that fertile ground to develop that confidence that needs to come forward. And this confidence is a very important word during this process, because the sun is in Leo, and we are going to talk about that. The Leo energy wants to come out and allow us to shine from our heart. So it's a beautiful wave spell, and I hope that many of you have been thinking about what is your idea, what is your project, what is that big healing thing, or what is it that you want to manifest? And so this is going to be the fractal of that process.
Right, and I was just making notes because the amount of potency that is available is really quite something. So we have this wasteful of the yellow magnetic seed. We're in the year of the seed,
The resonant
the
seed,
resonant seed.
meaning aligning, attuning ourselves with the energy of the seed, which is infinite potential. Think about a seed contains infinite potential. It has all of the information of what a big tree could become.
Right.
So everything is contained in there.
We're still in the magnetic moon of the bat, so we're still in that attracting phase, so that when we come to the Scorpion moon, we can catalyze the seeds into growth. But on top of that, we also have the energy of the Venus-Jupiter conjunction today to bring the expansion and abundance. We also, in the Northern Hemisphere, it's actually harvest time. We just had Lunar just last week. We have 10 galactic portals in a row. Each one could be a different intentional activation of a seed that we've planted. And then we're finishing the blue castle with the yellow seed, and then we're going into the yellow castle of harvesting. So if we put all of those together, that's quite a long list of things to potentize and bring to harvest.
I'd say that we're being fully supported in our dreams, in our ideas, in our projects, in the way we're visualizing our future and our new earth way of living. So I think this is a key wave spell to put those intentions in place.
Right, and of course this moon, the magnetic moon, is running to the 22nd before we get into the Scorpion moon. So I would personally recommend that if you haven't magnetized towards you the seeds that you want to plant and grow this year, then I would use the next week and certainly this yellow magnetic seed wave spell to enhance and amplify that energy.
Yeah, I agree. Just a reminder, if you want to learn more about the 13 moons, the wave spells, the history of the different calendars, where did this Soul King come from, all of those things, what is your galactic signature, you can come to the course. It's called the Mayan Time and Magic course, and it's available with quantumplanet.world on the platform. Right?
Right. So this looks like it's Bella's new toy.
Yes. So as we said, in order to get into this sidereal or constellational astrology, we need to use different tools. There are many softwares available, but what there is a huge amount of apps for looking at the true sky. And this is part of the invitation as well. I invite you all to go outside and see where the planets are. I received some beautiful pictures of people in the tribe taking pictures of the Venus-Jupiter conjunction. They were looking at it in the sky. So this is just an example of how we can go into one of those programs that are available. It's called a Stellarium, and you can go to the date and the time and see how things are moving. So in this particular one, I wanted to show where the sun actually is. You can see here it's in Leo. And in this constellational astrology, the Leo sign runs from August the 6th up to September the 15th. And it's a sign that has 38 degrees. So remember that this is different from the tropical Western astrology, where everything is 12 houses of 30 degrees. This is different because it's more true to the actual size of the constellation. So Leo is a big sign when we look at constellational astrology. So I wanted to see here, or to show here, different constellations for you to start getting more familiar with the way they actually look in the sky. So on August 15, which is when we are starting this wave spell, this is what is happening. The sun is in Leo, Mercury is in Cancer, as you can see. Venus and Jupiter just had a beautiful conjunction in Gemini. And if we go to the next slide, we see the moon coming in. So it's in Taurus on the 16th. And then it keeps on moving, and it joins here the party with Jupiter and Venus in Gemini. So when we talk about, we'll talk more about it when we look at the chart, like what does this actually mean? But it's more for you guys to also start getting used to looking at the sky and looking at the true sky. And then if we continue, we go to the 23rd, when it's the new moon. You can see Leo there in the middle. and I'll show you how the moon is exactly conjunct. I don't know if you can see the dot. And the beauty of this is that they are conjunct in Regulus at 15 degrees of Leo in constellational astrology. And this has huge symbolism, and we'll talk a little bit about that. So here it is, new moon at 1:07 Central Time, right in Regulus at 15. Did you want to add anything?
No, I mean, we're still working with limited technology in terms of being able to use charts to place everything as we normally would. So we're just using the more simplified 13 sign sidereal charts so that everyone can get an idea of where everything is. But as Bella said, we are moving into a new moon, which is actually in Leo, which makes a lot more sense in many ways. And this is an excellent time working with the very solar energy of Leo to plant seeds. They do need certain potency. They need fire, basically. And what better machine to use than the sun, because it's the biggest fireball we have in our part of the universe.
Yeah, so what this is telling me is that we want to plant those seeds with courage, because we want to feel it. And courage means from the heart. So we want to do it with the heart, with passion. What is it that your heart really wants to do now? With joy. Where is this happening in your chart? If you don't know how to do your chart in constellational or sidereal astrology, you can go down here to Dr. Danny's. There is a free chart calculator that you can use, or even in Athens.
Yeah, masteringthezodiac.com is also a good website.
So have a look at where is Leo for you, and how is this house getting activated by this new moon? And for us, the fact that it is hitting Regulus, the heart of the lion, is a call to leadership. A call to leadership, but with our heart, with a deep heart connection. Because when we talk about Regulus, it's a call for wisdom, to have noble intentions, is the sacred path for leaders. So where in your life are you being called to be a leader? Because this connection to Regulus is unifying our personal and collective destinies. So that's why I was saying earlier that it's a very important wave spell, because it feels that we are having a call from the heart of the lion to awaken our heart and work for the highest good of all. And we're all being called to do what we love, which is the best way of inspiring people.
Right, and for those of you that are familiar with the Stellar Nations pathway, of course, the lions or the winged lions represent leadership and nobility. And this is definitely a time in the planetary collective consciousness that a new type of leadership needs to be birthed. We need leaders who are fair and just and in service to the collective, and not in service to self and their bank accounts, which unfortunately seems to be what we've endured for the last couple of millennia. But this is a time of change, and I think we the people have a right to call forth the leaders that we need.
We, the cosmic humans, want a new earth that is different from what it's been for hundreds of years of slavery and just destroying the earth and indoctrination and everything that we've been talking about for so long. So this is a way of calling forth the new earth from the heart with good leaders, and many of those leaders could be some of you guys with your projects, with your ideas, and with everything that you have to offer.
And it could be leaderships in certain fields, for example. We need better leadership in education, in healthcare. In fact, we need better leadership in pretty much everything. So I'm sure there's somewhere that your leadership skills will fit, because I would suggest that our society is in need of something of an overhaul and a different imperative and direction. And certainly heart connections is, I would suggest, the best way of doing that. And I think that the leaders of the future in whatever fields they're in will need to be operating from that heart connection, or that Christ consciousness even.
And so having all this amount of energy in Leo, it's also to do with igniting that fire inside of us, our creativity, and to bring more of that confidence. Remember that the shadow of the yellow seed was lack of confidence. So now Leo is telling us, Connect to your heart, connect to creativity. What are you good at? What have people always praised you that you're really good at? And you've always thought, maybe I should be doing that. So review those ideas, because this is a call, I feel, to reconnecting to our life purpose. And through that, being able to inspire others to do the same, to step into the role.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Yeah, no, well, there's plenty of other things, but I'll leave them for my slides.
I'd say that this, to me, this is the most important thing that is happening according to this chart. And there is where I want to focus the energy, putting the seeds with heart, with passion to what we want moving forward. What did you have on that?
Well, I mean, I've got a few other things that I popped onto the slides, but something's just popped into my awareness, and that is that Ceres is actually moving into a more exactitude of opposition with Mars, and Ceres is the goddess of the corn, and Mars, of course.
Where is it?
Well, Ceres in the traditional astrology is at 16 degrees of Aries, so it's quite close to where Chiron is, about here. And so it's a little way off, but Ceres is in retrograde yet. They are actually already within orb. And I was thinking Mars in Ceres, well, that would be giving the fire to the potential harvest. And of course, Ceres is the goddess of the harvest. So I just spotted that looking at the various charts. Okay, so this is not a particularly busy astrological month in terms of transit, so I've just picked out the ones that are happening. There is some further action with Venus, but really the action is on the 23rd, day 9, day of intention of the solar tone, with that new moon in Leo. So very sunny aspects, we can say, but also a little bit of action on the 26th as we round out really this Wavespell, which is that Mercury squares Lilith and Jupiter trines Lilith. So perhaps Mercury wants to chat to Lilith about what she's learned recently, and then Jupiter wants to expand those teachings into perhaps a more harmonious, elevated space. So the other thing that is happening in this Wavespell is that Venus is having a series of conversations with some of the other objects in the sky. So she starts off on the day of integration, day 8, where she squares Chiron and perhaps is wanting to finish off any healing processes that we have had come up for ourselves, particularly perhaps in relation to Lilith in the recent months. She then goes on to trine Saturn, perhaps asking for some further kind of instructions on the structure that she's in the process of forming right now.
Venus and Saturn on the strong side of it is solid and lasting creating power, crystallizing reality with ease. And so it's also teaching others about their innate light. So that's a very good aspect.
Yeah, it's a harmonious aspect. It's a trine. And then she has another harmonious aspect also on the 26th, which is when, in fact, she has two harmonious aspects. She has another one with Uranus, and then literally about an hour later, she then goes into a trine with Neptune.
So Venus and Uranus, there it's about channeling cosmic energy, being excited about the freedom to express herself. It senses the uniqueness in creation. There is an electric sensuality connected to that Uranus and Venus. And then with Neptune, she's also excited about fantasy, creative imagination, merging all of these creative currents. So a lot of creativity everywhere we look at, whether we look at it through the Leo lens, Venus lens, the amount of energy in Gemini, the yellow seed wanting us to put all of this energy into it. There's a lot of creativity in the process.
Right. And then depending on where you live, there's always that flexibility in terms of the timing of these things. Venus will round out this Wavespell or even start the next one in an opposition to Pluto, which potentially could be quite interesting and could be quite beneficial, because Pluto is also about wealth and the management of wealth, and Venus is very much about abundance. So this could be a time when we really get to reap the rewards of the previous seeds that we've sown in this harvest, and then get to plant those seeds for an even more integrated one, perhaps later next year.
Since they're in opposition, we want to pay attention to maybe not obsessing too much over the creation or our ideas, and not the misuse of power and resources as well, not to do that.
Right, so those are some aspects of Venus to perhaps note. And interestingly, another aspect of Venus is Quetzalcoatl, the feathered serpent, and he is actually in a very tight ongoing conjunction with the sun. He's been in essentially within about 15 minutes of exactitude for several weeks now. The exact moment of exactitude did happen a few weeks ago. We covered that in another show, but it's still in the same degree. And so the energy of the feathered serpent and of Venus is very much in operation with this new moon.
So imagine the amount of power for this new moon to have the sun, the moon, and the asteroid Quetzalcoatl, which is an aspect of Venus. There is so much energy, and the energy of Venus we just mentioned about. It feels like a big blessing or a big support that we're getting over in this transition.
Right, so to add to this goddess energy, Magdalene or Magdalena is in opposition. That's also quite a tight opposition to Pluto, but also in a trine with Neptune and Jupiter. So again, this energy of wanting to catalyze maybe any tension points is there with Pluto in some cases, but there are these harmonious trines, particularly with Neptune and Uranus and various other planets, that bring these higher octave qualities of the goddess out.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is actually a typo. Sophia, however, is in an ongoing conjunction with Hidalgo, the warrior priest, and that very much takes us back into the realms of the 12 Knights of the Round Table, or perhaps 12 Templars, with a 13th figure being the goddess, being the grail that they protected in some ways. And I think that this is a storyline that's going to emerge as part of the retelling of the Knights of the Round Table, and perhaps the energetic qualities that each of the knights brought to that.
Mm-hmm.
Again, also interestingly, Vesta and Juno are in a tight conjunction, and Vesta really the guardian priestess of the sacred flame, which in many ways to me represents the dragon breath fire of creation that Magdalene gives us, actually, from the dragon breath, because she is a high dragon priestess. And so Vesta is about managing that internal sacred flame, and Juno is also about managing relationships and partnerships.
On the commitments.
And commitments.
Mm-hmm.
So perhaps this is an opportunity for us to reaffirm our commitments to honoring the principles of the goddess.
Mm-hmm.
And then to add to that, we have the warrior aspect of the goddess, Pallas Athena, being in opposition to Mercury. So these are all just some of the other conjunctions that caught my eye on the new moon itself. There are various other things too. Uranus, for example, is in conjunction with Sedna. And also, actually, interestingly as well, the new moon is in opposition to the asteroid Yeshua, which actually forms something of a grand cross featuring those asteroids of Yeshua and Sophia, along with the conjunction of Uranus and Sedna, and the new moon conjuncting Quetzalcoatl. So there is a lot of spiritual higher octave energy available, and really I would suggest it's very much the energy of the heart, very much the energy of transformation.
And when we talk about Quetzalcoatl in the cosmogony and cosmology of the Mesoamerican civilizations, he was a bringer of light, of knowledge, of agriculture, of measuring time, of architecture. So we are recovering all of that knowledge right now. And I think it's being sparked by the sun and the moon happening at the heart of Leo in Regulus. So I think there are many different aspects that are trying to support us in this big moment of resynchronizing ourselves to the natural cycles, to looking at the true sky, to creating what our heart really wants for the highest good of all.
Right. So that's really it on the astrological front as we continue our transition. We did do a couple of shows with Dr. Danny, the astrologer. She interviewed us for her channel as part of her Modern Magicians piece yesterday on the live stream, which was very enjoyable and a lot of fun. And we interviewed her as part of our ongoing investigation into the 13 signs of the true sidereal constellational astrology. So please do check those out too. Very informative on a whole variety of topics. So as part of the offering for the 13 moons, there was going to be an informal kind of wandering, we can say, through the 13 trees of the Celtic calendar. And I'm going to be featuring these in the appropriate places, in these quantum compasses. And we are now in the moon of the hazel tree. And this particular image here is to do with one of the stories that relates to Finn McCall. He was the leader of the Fiann in the Irish annals. And Finnegas, a druid, a mythological teacher that he was studying with, and the hazelnuts actually dropped into the salmon pool of knowledge, and being very, very magical things, the salmon ate them and then was imbued with the mystical and magical knowledge of the hazel tree. I'll be exploring this more in a special presentation that I've put together to offer to our Quantum Plant Alchemy group. And if you're interested to find out more about that, please do head over to that group on the quantumplanets.world website. And that's a free group to join, where we have impromptu investigations and presentations into various different plants and trees. So it is one of the 13 trees of the Celtic tree calendar. The hazel moon runs from August the 5th to September the 1st. It is part of Druid folklore and salmon pool of knowledge, which I'll be sharing in more detail. It's been an essential part of human diet since the Stone Ages, and I think very much in many ways represents part of nature's bounty and the abundance that we can really receive from nature if we're paying attention. It is a symbol of good luck. And rods that are made of hazel traditionally are used for, that's a typo, it should say divining, not diving, for divining water and earth energy. So that's in the sacred art of geomancy and dowsing. You can use hazel to intuit where water might be under the ground. It is very responsive to subtle energy, vibrations, and environmental changes. And this is kind of represented in its characteristic of being a very pliable wood from which you can make nice staffs and wands, for those of you that are into that sort of thing. And a little bit of the medicine of the tree is the barks, leaves, flowers, catkins, and nuts are all considered astringent, wound healing, blood purifying, fever fighting, and sweat inducing. Perhaps not necessarily something you go out and seek, but if you are suffering from those particular symptoms, this might help you. But yeah, the hazel tree has not really been overly used in herbal medicine through the ages. And as myself and Pete Jackson-Main have been discussing in various ongoing discussions that we've done in interviews, really and truly, herbalists tend to stick to the 15 to 20 plants that they know cover all of the bases, and that somewhat excludes some other magical plants that have lots of other medicine. So perhaps that one reason, but also maybe the hazel tree didn't need to share so much of its medicine, because I would suggest that humans in general eat quite a lot of hazelnuts in a variety of different places and forms. So that's the offering for the plant or tree of this Wavespell. And of course, you can connect with the spirit of the hazel tree and all that it has to offer by simply going and sitting under the tree and inviting the tree's consciousness into that of your own. Or perhaps you could make yourself some sort of hazelnut tincture or medicine in that way, or just increase maybe hazelnuts into your diet. But also that is with the warning, of course, for those who have allergies to nuts, and particularly hazelnuts can be a problem for some people. So that's it, really. All of which is part of the Legend of Turtle Island, a 13 moon almanac to life as a new earth pioneer. You can check out more details on that on the website, but just very quickly as an overview, every month, every 28 days, we will be releasing transmissions on the animal totem of that moon. So Bella and I did a longer deep dive into the bat moon, which has already been released into the container for that. There is a corresponding section of the Maca, the star language of creator. This is something that we are receiving as a transmission through a tribe member that was originally downloaded by grandfather Standing Elk of the Lakota tribe back in the 90s. And really, in many ways, corresponds to the 13 moons. And we're investigating and unfolding that process. And we hope to be able to have some interviews with some people involved in how all of that came to pass about 26 years ago. Of course, there is the relevant tone from the 1320 Mayan tone codes, which is in the navigation guide to quantum consciousness. And then hopefully we will be speaking to Dr. Danny about a corresponding sign from the true sidereal and constellational astrology as we make the 13 fit in a harmonious and corresponding way across numerous different mechanisms and modalities. I think that that's part of the mission for this particular moon of the resonant yellow seed. So on top of that, there will be additional content being released across both the QPW website and our YouTube channel. And that is where you will be able to find each moon, a little bit of a dive into the particular tree that's relevant to that in the Celtic tree calendar, which is very seasonal. And so it gives us another perspective at which to look at the 13. Myself and Leslie Shankman plan to do a series of talks looking at the stellar nations through the context of the 13 and linking the different nations to the different tones. And then there is a much more esoteric and hidden aspect of this journey, which is exploring how all of this was encrypted into the Knights of the Round Table mythology, because it's very much part of the lineage of King Arthur, of the dragons and the cats, and many other things that we've been looking at, and also perhaps is part of the Maca as well, because the knights represent guardians for a certain type of technology that only works when all 12 come together and thus unlock the 13th.
It's amazing to see how everything is so interconnected, and to be able to receive this start knowledge and connect it to the 13 moons, the 13 signs of constellational astrology, the 13 stellar nations, the 13 everywhere. And we know that 13 is the goddess, the great mother, and the energy that is now being called to infuse everything moving forward here in the planet.
Right, so this journey is really, for these 13 moons, is all about the reconnection of the 13th, the missing 13. And the more that we look at it, the more that we see that this has happened in quite a few places, not just with astrology and time, but also all of these other corresponding features. And our hope is that by the end of this journey, that this will all come into a place of alignment and coherence, and hopefully it will make sense to all of us. So that is the desired destination, but I think in the meantime we will have a lot of fun unpacking all of these different threads, really, that are all under the auspices, of course, of Great Mother Spider, who is one of the guardians of the Maca, actually.
And we'll be learning a lot through all of these different activities, but at the same time you'll be developing and moving forward with your project or idea or heart decide. You know, it is all simultaneously, and you're being supported within this container of 13 moons. And we do one live call with the group at least once a month or once a month.
Yeah.
And there's a discussion group where we can answer questions and share lots of things.
Yeah, I mean, we do have a number of regular live calls, and we do have a variety of different groups and courses that we do those live calls through. So the recommendation is just to pay attention to the videos and the emails and mark in your diary when those calls or transmissions are going to happen.
When is the latest that people can join this 13 moon almanac?
So the registration for this 13 moon almanac is going to stay open for the duration of this first month, this first 28-day period.
Until August 22nd?
Yes. It didn't really make an awful lot of sense to hold it open in that, because then you've missed the opportunity to do the magnetization part of the process. So if what we're talking about now resonates with you, I would suggest magnetizing this towards you and entering into this journey with our tribe. As part of it, we also plan to meet up in person, and we also plan to attend the Star Knowledge Conference in South Dakota in early October, which we've talked about in other videos, and is related to the First Nations people and the family of Standing Elk who brought the Maca through originally. So many exciting, many exciting manifestation projects on the way. And really, we've been using this moon of the back to magnetize towards us all of the different resources that we want to make sense of and to share and to weave into a much bigger tapestry, and to keep Great Mother Spider happy as she oversees all of this for all of us. So I think that's really it for today.
I would say it's a very exciting Wavespell. Get ready, get your seeds ready, eat lots of seeds as well. But more than anything, everywhere you go, put seeds of love, which is what summarizing Leo and all of these Wavespell is telling us. Wherever you go, put lots of seeds with love.
Right, and if you're a gardener, then maybe just bless the seeds that you're planting in your pots and in the ground with love and good intentions, and watch them grow, hopefully, into big, abundant, beautiful plants. So that's it really for this episode. There's lots going on. There's lots of material being released, both on the YouTube page in general, also the YouTube membership, where I put the daily mind glyphs to help people stay in the flow of each and every day of the Wavespell. And of course, there's the Quantum Compass, and then there's lots of exciting things happening on quantumplanet.world. So we really are excited to invite you all into this journey in whichever form suits you best, and quite possibly to meet some of you in person this coming year. So lots of exciting things on the way, everybody. And most of all, I would suggest making the most of that Venus and Jupiter beautiful conjunction that happened this morning.
Yes. Yeah.
All right, so that's it, everybody, for today. In Lakesh, I am another you. Bye for now.